done my Yoshi impression in a while. That was pretty good, if I say so myself. Should probably get the thing that has my address on it out of the frame. Okay, killing and crushing it. Welcome to the live, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great Thursday. Okay. I promise I'm not entirely manic. I'm just like a little manic right now. Everything's fine. We're good. Okay. Okay, I said I'd go live, and then I spent 7 minutes making heated rivalry TikToks. Story of my life. Okay, I'm clearly in a very punchy mood. Great. We're all feeling amazing this Thursday evening. Maybe it's not evening where you are. I never know. Which is so cool. I feel like I say things and then I I don't know how to address them without making myself feel like I'm doing too much or something. So I feel like a lot of times I say things and then I don't actually talk about why I think that's cool. But I genuinely do get a lot of delight out of doing these lives and finding out I don't know what everyone's up to, how everyone's doing, that kind of stuff. I really hate these keycaps, and every week I think it's going to be different. And what I really need to do is sell the keycaps. Will that happen? Probably not. And you know, it doesn't need to. Today we're doing the hands essay. Today we are finishing the hands essay. I say that so confidently, and then I'm like, well, maybe. I really want to, though, and then what I want to do is write the monthly mailer, which might also require me to do a few social media posts, which honestly funny at this point how little effort I've put into my one job this month because I've been busy getting a different job, and it's fine and nobody's mad at me except me, which is very typical for me. Okay, let's see. Everybody can just take a moment to appreciate the screenshot that I took of Shane. All right, these are going in the folder. Hands essay is up. I'm ready. Hopefully everyone else is ready. If you're not, go grab work, and then we're gonna do some work. My hope is that I can get hello. My hope is that I can get through this last pass as a final edit, and then maybe after break I'll do a live read through of the essay and then send it. If there's nothing glaring during the readout, because reading things out loud is my final step always, and it just might be fun. I hope everyone had a great day and a good night last night. I did not go to bed as early as I had anticipated, but I did do other things today that I thought I wasn't going to get done. So that's good. We slept through an alarm and we still came out on top. I can't sleep through alarms next week. I need to figure out if Apple's doing that weird silent alarm thing with my phone. Anyway, okay, let's begin. We'll chat in 25. Good luck. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Thursday. Might be Friday where you are. Who knows? Okay, and break.
you like remember a moment where like you felt like it kicked in?
Well, that's not the video.
My nigga.
Hey. There is a video of Sidney Crosby where he's asking. He's asking, like, I think he's with Gino and Tanger. Why is the internet so useless? God, I know where I could find it. God damn it. Yeah, why wouldn't I want to get out of the draft altogether? Jesus Christ. Guys, I'm having a day. clearly having a day. Okay.
Shane Hollander, I wanted to introduce myself.
Yay, it's break time. You made it to break. Congratulations. Oh no. Can I not see the chat? This happens sometimes. Elliot does have a crush. I keep being like, I'm almost done, and then I'm just going in and like writing more. I'm not doing a great job of editing and removing things at the minute, but that's okay. I hope everyone is getting good work done. Oh my goodness. I feel not in my body really, but I have this to do. I have some other work to do tonight, and my friend and I are gonna go see a movie tomorrow. So I'm gonna wake up and do laundry, and then put away my laundry, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of work, and then I'm gonna go meet my friend. Ooh, good luck. I do think like I don't know, is it helpful if you can like almost play a game with yourself of like almost like doing the most devastating thing you can think of on the beat sheet and then like toning it down? Like, um, but I hate putting my characters in conflict. That's I mean, yeah. A lot of times I'm like, the conflict is that they live in the real world, which is full of conflict. Uh, but no one ever said I was gonna plot. I'm good at personal essay. That's my genre. That's what I've spent majority of my life writing. Um, mm, fun. I mean, history's history's fun to play with. You can just make a list of all the worst things. I made my male main character like the president of a frat in one of my novels, like, and I did end up having a conversation between the two main characters about like the ethics of hazing. And like how like that had been a thing for them back in college and he had like done a really good job of like stopping hazing from happening. I was like, this is such a me problem. Like I can't like do a thing without being like, and that's part of a broader system. Um, I do think writing is sometimes just an exercise in in a controlled demolition of self in certain ways, and that's good. Um Oh my god. I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to actually having a theory about the hands, which is mostly that I think like it's obviously very pivotal almost every single time their hands do touch. Um and they they don't shake hands after episode 1, which makes sense like narratively, but also they stop having any illusion of like I don't know, it's interesting like they you're telling me that the NHL makes them give up their autonomy. I was trying to find this clip and I think it's on Twitter, but I don't know where to find it basically. But there's this clip of Sidney Crosby and it's like he's smelling his gloves and he's like, "Can you?" And he's looking at his teammates and he's going like, "Can you smell my gloves? Like, do my gloves smell bad enough that you can smell them from over there?" Um, and they're like, "No, no, I can't." And then he like holds them up to their faces and they're like, "Holy shit!" It's like, yeah, like I think because I wrote about like the parallels between Regency romance and sports romance, and I wrote gloves as one of them. But like hockey gloves are disgusting. Um, yeah, and, like, they don't so I guess, like, I learned a bunch of, like in hockey, you really don't shake hands that much. It's, like, a playoff thing or, like, a finals game, which is why they shake hands so much in their youth league is because 'cause they're both playing the final. So that's where those handshakes do make sense, versus yeah, they lose any excuse to be shaking hands. Um So they just never do it again, and also they know each other. But, like, Shane offers his hand on the Vegas roof as well. Um, but after that, they're never quite as formal. So it never happens again. Okay, 25 more minutes. Let's go. Oh, wow, excuse me. God, I wish I had a snack. Do you want any? Banana. I should have bought that bag of clementines. Forgot about this part. Bing bong, it's break time. We did it, another 25 minutes. Let's see. They don't, the only times in episodes 2 that their hands touch are the stairwell when they're hooking up a little bit and like when they're in bed. Did I put 3 for episode 2? Unless I missed one, in which case I am happy to note that. But it's not that their hands don't touch, it's that they just conspicuously stop touching. Nearly as much, and then they finally hold hands in episode 5 after the thumbs. Okay, I am finally on to editing episode 6, which will be all of this. And then the wrap up. And then I'll be done. And that's really exciting. I'm excited to be done with this essay. I will be doing a million other things with this essay, I'm sure, after it, but I'm excited to be done. Their fingers are intertwined. I would not classify that as fingers intertwined. Like I see it, but it's not palm to palm. You know what I mean? Like it's not palm to palm. Their fingers are like resting against each other, but I would say this is like a conspicuously casual version of a handhold in comparison to like what Rose and Shane get to do immediately. Like their fingers do like to touch, like their thumbs do touch, they do rub against each other, and they also have a very intimate finger touch at the cottage, where they're kind of like rubbing each other's fingers. So they're definitely touching, but I wouldn't say they're holding because there's no like grip. I go into this in the essay, but to me there's a difference between like when their hands are on top of each other versus when their palms are touching versus when their like fingers are actually like and the first instance we have of fingers being that intertwined is Shane and Rose, and then hospital we don't actually see the handholds, but we do see the handhold in the car, and it's very like thorough because it's with both hands. Where is my mind? Yeah. Yes, I am. Oh man, 8 pages is long. That's good though. It's good to have detail. It's good to have an idea of where you're going. It's always nice when you're writing to go back to the like, what was the point of this? Like I should have come up with the theory before I did the other stuff. But yeah, this is. Let's see. Are we at 7,000 words yet? Like I don't know. Yeah, we are. We're at 7,156 words. It's like I hope it's technical. Otherwise, I'm just saying shit. Toe touches. This is the one that I'm like, I don't know that it counts, but I've decided that it counts. Oh, break time's over. Okay. Another 25. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. And then if I'm finished after the next break, I will read it out loud. Woohoo! Excuse me. Am I done? I think I'm done. I hate this part. What needs to happen here? I don't think I'm done. I think I want to be done and I'm not done. Ugh, 800 words. It's like 500 too long. It's not really a conclusion. It's more like a restatement. God. I feel like I've come to multiple conclusions about this, and I just can't remember what they are, or I've articulated them too many times throughout it, so then it feels redundant to say at the end. Or I'm not being redundant, but I've read it and written it so many fucking times that I feel redundant. Hi. Bing bong, break time. I think I'm done. Oh my God, that's so cool. Congratulations on maybe being done with your thing by the end of today. I think after this break, I am going to read this entire essay out loud. So, um, sorry. Feel free to mute me if you want to stick around. The timer will still be going if you're working. Um, yeah. I think I need to be done with it at this point in many ways. I think my brain just can't can't keep going over and over this again and again, but I also have like I've built it up in my head too much, and so I need to just be okay with whatever this is. I think it took shape. And it's okay if it didn't. Like, there is no harm in me putting out mediocre work, and I don't even think this is mediocre. I think I am just being mean to myself because I have kind of low self-esteem this week because I'm going through some weird personal shit. So like here we are. What a creative process this has been. Oh my God. And then of course I'm planning to do a podcast about this. So that'll be its own thing. Fun, fun, fun. And then I'm going to do a podcast about other things. And I'm really excited to talk about other things. And I used to get like really into different things every week. And I would like do a whole pod and it was really great. And I do start a new job next week. So I don't want to put any pressure on myself to like develop or promise anything. I'm excited to have a job. I am nervous about like changes to my schedule, but I'm kind of figuring like I'll figure shit out. I haven't missed a day of posting in almost 8 months. So I want to keep that streak going just because it's like, I don't know, there's something about it that like holds me accountable in a certain way. So I want to keep going with that, but I feel like I'm going to give myself like a week to really figure out like what's going on with my job and stuff. So that'll be good. That'll be good. Um, and yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to start. I have a work laptop. Um, Yay, that's so cool. That's great. I'm so excited for you. Um, Hell yeah. Doing work, getting stuff done, putting stuff out there. It is about making stuff publicly available, even if it's imperfect. And I would tell that to my friends. So why can't I tell that to myself? Oh, thank you so much. I'm very excited. I'm very nervous, but I'm very excited. My first day is Monday, but it's a work from home day. So like I have like Zoom meetings and stuff. But, like, I haven't been given a schedule, like, anyway, it's very weird because it's like I haven't been given a schedule. I won't really be given a schedule until Monday morning, which is fine. It'll be Zoom calls, but that feels intense. And then I go into the office Tuesday. So, um that's so true. We are always harder on ourselves. I really think something that I'm really proud of myself for doing is the project where I made myself write nice things to myself in my diary every day for at least one page. And I was only allowed to be relentlessly positive, and I wasn't able to critique any of my thoughts or actions because, like, I don't know, I've been going through fun personal fact. I've been going through a friend breakup this week, and, like, it's not even a friend break. It's anyway, I'm, like, devastated, but I can't even really engage with it. And I was talking to another friend about what was happening, and she was just like, "So it sounds like you couldn't be harder on yourself. It sounds you," and, like, this is, like, a newer friend, so I feel like this is kind of the first thing she's gone through with me where, like, we've been really kind of, like, open about, like, "So I react this way to things." And that's been really interesting, like, another way to get to know myself, like, making friends in adulthood, very interesting in terms of, like, who they know me as and kind of like what they know me as is not the phrase I really want to use, but it's the phrase I'm going to use. Um okay, 20 seconds. And then let's dive into Hands essay. And I'll move this closer cuz maybe I'll play the clips while they're happening. And you can still see the timer in the bottom if that's what you want to do while I do this. Okay. Essay number 239, The Hands of Heated Rivalry, or hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Okay, here we go. Hello, I am back with more to say about Heated Rivalry. Was this essay supposed to come out 2 months ago? Yes, yep, it sure was. Life had other plans, but we're here now, babe, and thanks so much for sticking around. I just have so much to say about Shane and Ilya and their hands and the amount of sheer touching and grabbing that happens in the show. For the purposes of this essay, though, I have managed to limit myself to just discussing when their hands touch each other's hands. The touching, seizing, squeezing physicality of the aforementioned grabbing is one of the reasons the show is so hot and horny. The kissing is intense. Just take a look at the noses the next time you watch. Plus, the sound mixing is heavy on the breathing. Its atmospheric intensity adds to the story because this shit is hot and it is forbidden. And look at them go, risking it all for the chance to be with each other. There have been so many articles and think pieces about why women enjoy heated rivalry, and honestly, most of them have just felt like people are trying to hyper intellectualize the reality that it's fun to watch people fall in love. Also, there's hot people having sex that's adding to the storyline. There's things to be gleaned from the way they interact, from the consistency of the check ins, from the way they brush against each other. Which brings us to the subject of this entire piece, hands. The thing about hands is, like, they mean everything. When reading romance, we're constantly made aware of where everyone's hands are, what they're touching, the sensations being derived from where they're touching, the temperature, and even clamminess factor. They're a real conduit of connection, the first point of contact, a casual intimacy allowed even to acquaintances. Case in point, the Mr. Darcy hand flex from Pride and Prejudice 2005 heard around the world. Thanks, Jane. Sports romance and Regency romance have a lot in common, actually. Use of last names and contrasted intimacy of first names being used. Emphasis on propriety. We can't be seen together. What would the fans, team / public think? Adhering to curfews and chaperones. Adults being corralled by other adults being corralled by other adults for narrative heightening purposes and also blatantly ignored / written around when inconvenient. Gloves can't be brushing against each other's bare hands. Got to keep those gloves on in the garden with a man who might not have the best intentions. And also when playing hockey, redeeming the rake. Ilya is a classic rake. Oh my God, international Playboy alert. Modern rakes wear Rick Owens. In Heated Rivalry, it's conspicuous just how long they go without touching, without their hands touching after the rush of initial touching in episode 1. After that, I've had to stretch the definition a bit for what counts as their hands touching during episodes 2 through 5. But don't worry, Curve swoops right back up for the final episode. For visualization purposes, here's that official data represented a few more ways. The thing about Heated Rivalry is that nothing feels like chance. Their hands often touch during pivotal scenes. It's usually fleeting, conspicuous absence of it, some might say. It's me, I'm the one who's saying that. Is there a pattern? Does this mean anything? The only way to find out is to go through every single time their hands do touch, I suppose. So let's break down the hands of Heated Rivalry. The timeline. There are so many instances where their hands conspicuously don't touch, but if I cataloged both, well, that would just be the entire show. Gotta pick parameters. Episode 1. This show loves the parallel, so Shane and Ilya's hands often touch in sets of 2 in this episode, which is established in the opening scene. A scene that upon every rewatch makes me feel so many emotions because they have no idea what's about to happen because of this one encounter. For full effect, picture me shouting, "That's your soulmate!" at my TV every time I watch them meet. An encounter that Shane sought out, despite the fact that the first establishing we find out about him in the very next scene is that he's not the most sociable. Incredible subversion between scene 1 and 2, and in that paradox, we learn more about Shane as a character and how his behavior towards Ilya is unique to Ilya, just like, well done, show. I don't know that I love this. This is why we do this. Shane seeking Ilya out is going to directly subvert the first fact we find out him in the very next scene when it's announced that despite being great at hockey, he's not the most sociable. Oh, Shane's behavior towards Ilya is out of character and unique to Ilya, and we find that out in the first 3 minutes. Well done, show. I think it's so sweet to imagine Shane Hollander just watching clips of Ilya Rozanov while they're getting ready to play against each other and just really wanting to meet this guy who's always being compared to in hockey. And also, yeah, he's cute, so what? That's not even touch number 1, the first handshake. Shane, like the polite Canadian boy that he is, finds Ilya, introduces himself, and offers his hand. It's the first touch, and we get so much from it.
Shane Hollander, I wanted to introduce myself.
I will say, I think my favorite part about this one is Shane's little lean in. He does it, then he's like, It's first touch and we get so much from it. Ilya's suspicious, intrigued, getting over the shock of having someone startle you while you're trying to light/enjoy a cigarette next to a no smoking sign. I want to once again emphasize that Shane is the one who initiates, because from the very start, Ilya is the exception to Shane's rules, most of which he's made up for himself. Then they stand there. Oh, and Ilya, who's having trouble lighting his cigarette right before the handshake, is now able to light it no problem. Literal sparks are flying. Apparently, there is a much longer cut of this scene where Shane attempts to make conversation and keeps getting shut down, and I'm so grateful that they went with this no talking cut instead. I do want to see this other cut, especially because it starts with Shane winding his way out of the building and clearly inconveniencing himself to try and meet Ilya, and the implications are so good. But I don't want to see them flounder during their first encounter because it's so perfect in silence. Did I say the same thing twice? A little bit. Touch number 2, the second handshake. The thing about the second time their second time touching hands is that it happens because Shane also initiates a second handshake. Due to the sheer number of clips and my aversion to having anything copyright struck, even though, come on, Crave, I've done hundreds of free hours of promo for you, and this is totally fair use analysis, I am keeping these clips contained to just when their hands literally touch. Also, I really enjoy the physicality of putting the cigarette in his mouth in order to free up his hand. The second handshake is one of my favorite things that Shane does in the entire show. He just really wants to hold Ilya's hand again, okay? He doesn't know why he's so compelled, but he's doing it anyway. He's got a crush. Ilya's expression of understanding makes me want to gnaw on a pillow. Shane is intrigued. He's pleased, and Ilya finally engages Shane with a chirp as Shane walks away. You will not be so nice when we beat you. To which Shane reacts by smiling. He's so thrilled he got Ilya to speak to him, and he's not offended by the implication that his team will lose, so he responds, that's not happening. It's such an earnest and completely unoffended response, and that is a trend we will see over and over again, and it'll disarm Ilya every single time. This scene establishes another important element of their dynamic. Competition. They will be competing against each other. Ilya sets the expectation that when he wins, Shane will not be nice anymore. Little do they know that the competition is going to be like a whole thing between them because they're both so good that their only true competition is each other. The thing that brings them together, hockey, is the same thing that makes it impossible for them to be together. Their star quality is one of the reasons that they're so attracted to each other, and yet it's the factor that ups the stakes of their relationship. They're not just two hockey players who are in love with each other. They're the best hockey players in the league who are also on a rival team. The inherent conflict, the stakes cannot be higher. Touch number 3, Junior World's Handshake Line, Part 1. They do play and Ilya does win. Ilya often says that what he wants and then proceeds to get what he wants. A powerful manifester, one might say. Then, after the win, they have to shake each other's hands in the good game lineup, which is a thing that only happens at certain hockey games. I thought it happened at every hockey game, which would have added a lot of tension and drama, but no, it's like only playoff rounds and big meaningful competition, which is why it happens here. Shane's got Ilya's attention. They're going to see each other at the draft. What a fun setup for the next scene and us as an audience. Touch number 4, hand bumps at the draft. I always get a bit paranoid that I'm going overboard in what counts in terms of their hands touching, but I did crowdsource opinions to make sure I wasn't making up the fact that Ilya is fully bumping Shane's hand here. After they flash the numbers, one could argue that Shane also moves his hand up in order to bump Ilya back. Casual touch initiated. Ilya having the time of his fucking life because he got drafted number 1, and Shane is miserable because he didn't get number 1, but also Ilya is looking at Shane like this, which, like, come on. It's so early in their story, but in the very next scene they're going to stare each other longingly across rooms, so it's not too early. We're all here and we're trapped in their love story forever now. Feel the urn. Touch number 5, water bottle pass, part 1. The night of the draft, we find Shane unable to sleep, so he gets up, makes the hotel room bed, and goes down to the gym to burn off some energy. Enter Ilya. Oh, cool, this is going to be a thing. They're always going to wind up in the same space without planning to. I wonder if that's because they're so drawn to each other, almost like there's fate involved or something. They then duke it out on the bikes while the breathy sound mixing makes it sound like something else is happening, but they also literally can't stop glancing at each other. Post bikes, they sit across from each other in front of a mirror, because why not pack every single scene with symbolism in order to tell a complete story from every possible angle? The duality, the literal image they're maintaining, seeing each other, and desire is being reflected. Through some more heavy breathing, we get Ilya leading a conversation about the day, about if the cities they're bound to are nice, and about seeing each other a lot before he offers Shane his water bottle. He then insists on the water bottle after the first refusal. And then they exchange the water bottle, and all of their fingers are brushing up against each other because they are getting away with as much touching as they possibly can. Touch number 6, water bottle pass, part 2. Of course, now that Shane has the water bottle and has followed directions to drink more, he has to give it back. Cue overt lingering when their fingers overlap. They're being extra touchy, and it's so cute they truly cannot help themselves. But Ilya also puts his mouth right on that thing, blinks, and then winks because he's a gigantic shameless flirt who is having so much fun with Shane. My whole theory is that they're both having very much love at first sight, huge crush syndrome the entire first episode, and are in deep from the very first time they meet. Truly, is there anything better than having surreptitious contact with your crush? This scene, The scene also has Ilya guiding Shane's gaze, spreading his legs, and ultimately getting Shane's foot to twitch towards him when he lightly invades his space with all the spreading they're doing. I love the foot twitch because their bodies are already just so attuned to each other, and once again, the yearning. But it's not annoying that Ilya's taking up all the room and throwing his legs everywhere because we're not on the subway. We're in the gym after dark because these two fucking soulmates just had to run into each other on the night of the most important thing that's ever happened in their entire lives. The thing that they've been working towards every single day and can understand the other one intrinsically in some ways and can therefore because they had the exact same goal and it defined their experience of life so far. Intertwined forever, but also Shane, Mr. Hockey Hollander, Shane, Mr. Hockey Hollander got bested by someone at hockey, and he's literally never going to let that go, and I love that so much for him. Yes, be a competitive person with no hesitation and get rewarded for it by being Rookie of the Year. Yes. This touch is right on the edge of plausible deniability. No, it's definitely not that they like each other and totally want to make out. It's that they need to pass a water bottle back and forth and make sure every single one of their fingers touched at some point while that happened. Touch number 7, Junior World's Handshake Line Part 2. See what I mean by the hands happening in sets of 2? The timeline of the first episode moves quickly, so using callbacks is a great plus. Plus, it's a helpful way to mirror what's happening. Ilya won the first juniors game and told Shane, see you at the draft. Shane wins the second juniors game and smiles through see you in October. I also think Shane potentially wings here, but it could just be a smitten eye crinkle and hey, I'll take either one. They're already taking note of the next time they're going to see each other, a theme that will be consistent throughout and focused on during the 2 montages that open episode 2 and 4 respectively. Big part of long distance relationships is knowing exactly when the next time you're going to see each other is. Touch number 8, hand on top of hand. Their first hookup has exactly one instance of their hands touching. We get a brief wrist grab, and then we get their hand on top of each other on top of Shane's thigh while Ilya shows Shane how to do this. If you're in public, maybe don't hit play on this clip, or at least mute it if you don't have headphones on. Ilya has a tad more sexual experience, but the important difference between them is actually more around their level of assuredness. Is actually more about the level of assuredness that Ilya has about his sexuality. He knows he's bi. Shane is going to take another 5 to 6 years to figure himself out in any concrete way, and then the only person he's able to tell that he's gay is the guy he's been having gay sex with the entire time. Shane, this is the only time their hands touch throughout their first hookup, and it is palm to palm. Huge! Bonus, touch number 12, foot taps 1 plus 2 equal 1 hand touch. Eagle Eye readers might have noticed the chart lists 12 instances of their hands touching in the first episode. Well, it's not exactly the truth, Ellen, but I have decided that 2 foot taps that happen under the table during their joint press conference can be added together to equal 1 hand touch because they're physically reassuring each other, but also because there is a focus on their hands on the table and the lack of ability for them to touch hands is the whole tension of the show. They can't just touch each other because they've got to reassure each other secretly while also in plain sight. And I want queer romances to be far more than just stories of people in the closet. But also, holy shit, does the closet sure add a lot of desperate intrigue and longing to the whole narrative. I like the second one because of all the lingering it implies. They reach out, reach back. They're very reflexive with each other, these two. Their hands in this scene are also reaching for each other because they always want to be touching each other. Shane, not the most social Hollander, is picking up on all the nonverbal cues Ilya's putting down. They get each other, but they don't get to have each other. The fact that both of them really do want to be with each other is the most terrifying and exhilarating thought in the world that both of them absolutely refuse to engage with, let alone verbalize for 8 years. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to repress feelings again. Touch number 9. Hey, now you're an all-star. Their hands touch a lot of other things while they hook up, including often being buried in each other's hair, but they just so rarely touch each other's hands. We get a second instance of hand-on-hand during their second hookup at the All-Stars game after Ilya gives the instruction, get on your knees. He is then shocked by how quickly and thoroughly Shane responds. Shane also goes for Ilya's chest because that's exactly what Ilya did to him during their first hookup, and Ilya grabs his hand and gives it a squeeze. You might think a mirror to Shane grabbing Ilya's hand at that point during their first hookup, but no, Shane grabs Ilya's wrist, a subtle but important difference. I labeled this hand on tit in the clips folder, which made it sound vaguely like a painting title to me, and that made me laugh, so it's the official title in my mind forever. Palm to palm contact, 0.00%. Palm to tit contact, 100%. Touch 10, phone give. This is the same hookup that ends with them exchanging numbers because this whole hookup thing that's now happened twice is going to happen again, and it is going to be on purpose next time. That should be there. The Jane Lily conversation thread will contain most of their communication for their entire relationship over the next 5 years, so one could argue this is a pivotal scene. It all starts here with the command to hand over the phone because Ilya realizes that what Shane is hedging at and gets up in his towel to demand his phone so he can give Shane what he wants. And what Ilya also wants, because what they want is each other. Touch number 11, the Vegas roof handshake. Episode 1 wraps up with the exact gesture. It opens with Shane offering Ilya his hand. That was an 18-second clip. That is long. Well, it is what it is. Got to keep the whole thing in here because look, they're holding hands. Shane wins Rookie of the Year, goes up on the roof, stumbles into Ilya, who's up there smoking / showing off his cheekbones, gets a little pissy because he thinks Ilya is being a dick about the award, even though he's not. Shane just has no framework to understand that not everyone is happy to go home, and he thinks they're having a completely different conversation than they actually are. Oh no, miscommunication done well isn't frustrating, but it sure is heartbreaking. But don't worry, Shane still can't leave without offering his hand to Ilya one more time, which Ilya does take, steps away from the ledge to take, actually. Before pressing Shane up against the wall. While still so that they can make out. Yay! They have some of the best kissing scenes ever captured on film. Congratulations on finally besting the other best kiss of all time. James McAvoy and Christina Ricci and Penelope. Is the movie good? No, but the final kiss is so good. Up there with Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling recreation of the Notebook kiss at 2005 VMAs. Anyway, Shane stops kissing Ilya because he remembers that they're in public and wearing tuxedos. I always find it funny that Shane emphasizes what they're wearing in this instance as if that adds to the severity of them potentially being caught / outed. And then they don't hook up again for 2 years after this. It's just so important that Shane continuously offers Ilya his hand in this episode. We open the show with that. We're ending the first episode with that. It's the only socially acceptable hand holding they're able to do, and they do it often. Palms are touching here, folks. And then the handshakes completely disappear. I don't like that this is capitalized. They never shake hands again after this episode, which in some ways makes sense because they know each other now, but also they don't need excuses to touch each other, although I wish they'd make more of them. Episode 2. Maybe if they had those excuses, we could actually get more of their hands touching, though. Don't let the absolute flood of hand touches in episode 1 fool you into thinking this is a... this show... fool you into thinking this show is hot and heavy with the hand touches. It's not. Touch number 13, stairwell antics. The first time they hook up at Shane's apartment, 2 years after their second hookup at All Stars, they race up the stairs because they're always competitive, but they also love being in competition specifically with each other and getting turned on by each other's drive. And anyway, their hands kind of slide into each other at the last second here. So touch 13. Touch number 14, hookup hands. Yay! Let your hands say what you can't verbalize about presence and connection. In bed, in Shane's bed. Here we fucking go. Once again, the hand is on the tit. Hand on tit, part 2. Touch number 15, towels in hands post-shower. Ilya gets back into bed wearing, say it with me, a towel. That's right, they're being emotionally vulnerable with each other, and after some deliberate hand touching, their fingers just linger with each other throughout the entire scene until Ilya panics after Shane gives him a very tender kiss on the forehead. Wow, this is also a long clip. This is a 25-second clip, but like their hands are touching. Uh-oh, the guy I've been pursuing for 2 years straight wasn't just a casual conquest, and we've actually built a lot of intimacy throughout this anticipatory period. My name is Ilya Rozanov, and I have to get out of here. Touch number 16, stairwell antics part 2. Of course, immediately after Ilya flees the bed / apartment, he then deliberately lingers on the stairs while tying / retying his boots in order to make an excuse in order to continue the conversation. And then they have the stairwell kiss, and we can all just appreciate how cute it is. Also, that's not what Ilya sounds like. That's an unaccented goodbye. And while we don't really see their hands touch during this moment, I'm taking the implication that they are and running with it because this is my essay and I'm making the rules here. Shane, aka Urinatron 5000, is also just so smitten and I'm delighted by it. Episode 4. Yep, that's right. They don't touch after the stairwell. Because they go to the Olympics and fight and yearn from afar, and then Ilya goes full hockey monster mode and goes Shane, but wins the equivalent of the Stanley Cup. And then when they meet back up in the bathroom, there is no hand touching, but Urinatron 5000 is back and in maximum force, see below. And they definitely never touch hands upstairs after the award show, but other parts of them sure do. Ilya's hand is on Shane's chin/jaw a whole lot during the bathroom scene. Not on his hands, though, just on his face. Just constantly grabbing his face. We're also skipping episode 3 because it's not about Shane and Ilya, so their hands are not part of the equation. It does have some of my favorite Ilya moments, which does include him fist bumping every member of his team while saying, "I love you," but he's not doing it with or saying it to Shane, so it doesn't really factor in here at all. All of this brings us to episode 4, an episode in which their hands basically never touch ever, and I'm stretching to make these 2 instances fit, TBH. Touch number 17, bed formation. Okay, so like their left hands are kind of touching/lingering next to each other. Then Ilya moves that hand to grab Shane's boob. I was going to say chest, but man, the word boob is just such a fun word. So like it's there. The hands are definitely lingering in proximity at the very least. Let me have this. Touch number 18, tuna meltdown wrist grab. Did I say that wrist grabs don't really count earlier in this very essay? You bet. But the last time the wrist grab happened, it wasn't to facilitate Ilya spitting into Shane's hand, which does feel important to include in an essay about hands, even if it's not officially a hand touch, it's still textually significant. Yay! One thing the show does incredibly well is pace the peak and valley of giving audience an extreme high in order to crash land us into devastation so effectively mere moments later. You gonna come for me, Rosenhoff? Fucking make me. Okay. But then Shane is the one who has to go after after a display of elevated intimacy, after a hookup 3 years after. But then Shane is the one who panics and leaves after this display of elevated intimacy, after a hookup 3 years. 3 years after Ilya did the exact same thing. Well, it's also the first time they're at each other's houses. When Ilya panics and leaves, it's the first time he's at Shane's house. When Shane panics and leaves, it's the first time he's at Ilya's. Okay, but then Shane is the one who panics and leaves Ilya's house after this display of elevated intimacy 3 years after Ilya did the exact same thing after their first hookup at Shane's apartment. Oh, ow, ouch. Why, oh, why would they stab me with the shards of that mirror they just dropped on my head? Touch number -1, Shane and Rose. The amount of focus that Shane and Rose's hands get throughout their courtship is actually so jarring. Ilya even scrolls down in the article, which just highlights the hands being completely intertwined. Hey. Oh no, they're immediately able to do the one thing that Shane and Ilya have never gotten to do. Be in public together. And so there's so much praise because heteronormativity is positively reinforced from all angles. And so Shane is just trapped in his own mind about all this, but also Ilya's out here stubbing his toe in Boston because their feet are no longer tapping each other under the table. They're entirely disconnected. And that's also showing up in their hockey, especially when they play against each other. It's almost like it's the perfect plot thrust where we're getting comparisons in order to drive home the stakes and the stark difference in the latent homophobia keeping them separated, which is great uses of devices, but also like, ouch. Also, this is one of the few times we see Ilya plus team in the workout scenes, and he also rallies the troops in Montreal later when he decides he needs to get laid because hockey bros absolutely move in packs, and it's a nice reminder of how little time these dudes really have by themselves. When Ilya yells, "Tell people," right after having decided that his sudden need to have sex is now an everyone problem and they're going to be part of the solution, like, yeah, that sounds about right. Shane and Rose have a very elegant meet cute, which happens immediately after Shane asks the bartender for ginger ale and then feels social pressure to instead order what's expected of him, a beer. Of course, earlier in this episode when he was at a restaurant, he also couldn't get ginger ale. Guess where we saw him get it earlier? Because the ginger ale is a metaphor for his desires for Ilya, the one indulgence he usually allows himself, despite living with immense pressure to do everything right and maintain his carefully curated celebrity. Anyway, Shane and Rose's backstories are neatly mirrored. Both of them work towards their professions from a very young age. She knows hockey, he's seen all of her movies, and they both have high pressure performance jobs that involve their bodies looking a certain way. Her first line to him is "Have a fry, Shane Hollander." And he does. So much is said with just the sight and visuals of Shane and Rose getting to hold hands in public, getting to be together, because that's what it often comes down to, wanting the simple and banal expressions that everyone else gets to indulge in without fear or hesitation. Hands. Episode 5, don't worry. I know that episode 4 only had 2 instances, but this next episode comes in with a scorching, also 2. Once again, we do have a quick in-public Shane and Rose hand grab to kick off the episode. There's also a moment in the Tampa bar conversation where after they've gotten into their... At the Tampa bar... After they've gotten into their conversation, their hands end up in proximity and on the bar as Ilya twiddles his thumb. Now let's get into the 2 actual hands make contact moments of episode 5. Touch number 19, thumbs on the beach. 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a thumb war. 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe they can finally date. The careful and quiet intimacy of the scene is entirely devastating. It's so private, but it is happening outside. There's a situation in which they can be near each other and took it immediately and exchange room numbers like they used to because Rose and Shane aren't compatible, but Ilya and Shane are, and they're here and it's happening. Thumbs on the beach. Yes, I am humming Taylor Swift featuring Lana Del Rey every time I write that. Touch number 20, hand holding at the hospital. Was it better with a guy? Rose Landry earlier this episode. Yes, better. Shane Hollander when Ilya holds his hand. Oh, you mean to tell me that after seeing Shane get injured, we finally get the 2 of them properly holding hands for the very first time, and Ilya's holding onto Shane's hand basically the whole time they're in the room, even when he's gently / reverently touching Shane's freckles. We made it. They are holding hands. They're finally admitting what they mean to each other, because after touching thumbs, they had a real adult conversation about what they want, and then their situation massively shifted because Ilya's father passing away opened up new realities, and now he's being invited to the cottage. Whee! All while finally holding hands. And yes, it has to be secret. And yes, it is uniquely devastating to remember that no one would have known to update Ilya on Shane's health, which is something that the fight for marriage equality centered around because of the history of partners having no legal protection during the AIDS crisis and how that compounded the absolutely already tragic circumstances. Progress is so important, and this is one of those, oh yeah, the show is inherently political because it is shining a light on one of the parts of our culture that is still cloaked in homophobic shadows, and clearly this conversation isn't over and progress is still something we're fighting for. Moments. We're fighting for love, and it's good to remember why it's worth fighting for, which leads us to the promised land, baby. We're going to the cottage. Episode 6, touch number 21, holding hands in Shane's normal car. The car scenes are shot so well because we're in the car with them, and it's also voyeuristic, but it's all emotional intimacy that's being laid bare now rather than purely physical. In the car, they hold hands after discussing how nervous but excited they are to spend this time together. They don't just hold hands. Ilya's engulfing Shane's entire hand with his, and then he's so pleased with himself. It's the best. What incredible emotional payoff to happen within the first 5 minutes of this episode. Look at that. Hand holding. Hand smothering, more like. Touch number 22. Do you want the house tour? It's important that you sing the song a la Sabrina Carpenter, but then go heavy on the Canadian accent for tour a la Shane. Look at these 2 grinning Muppets who can't stop making out with each other and also need to hold hands the entire time they're walking around the cottage. This scene has one of the best. Ilya smiles. I even kept the end where they're no longer holding hands and Ilya slaps Shane's ass. Fun, sexy. What a good time we're all having at the cottage where physical intimacy is not only allowed but encouraged, and it'll be forever intertwined with them attempting to be really honest with each other about their feelings because they're finally alone together. Touch number 23, just a bellboy. Look, this is kind of a wrist grab more than a handhold. Maybe, but because Shane is being so fun and they're making out in front of windows in the daylight, it feels important to note that the hands are in very close proximity with a different vibe. Also, the way Shane groans in the scene is what I picture when authors write that a character purrs, because seriously, what a rumble. Touch number 24, by the fire. After one of their most emotionally vulnerable conversations ever, they hold hands in a way that I would describe as the sweetest way possible. It's so gentle, and there's fingers brushing each other, all while the fire is the source of the light, and Ilya wants to stay outside in the open with Shane, and every scene is doing so much with the storytelling, and then here come the hands. Number 25 and 26. Down, boy. This scene has two separate instances of Shane batting Ilya's hands away. I love the second one. I love the dive. I think it's very funny.
Yeah, no, I remember that. That was
Hands touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Bonus touch, 26.5 toe touches. I like to think this is the parallel payoff to Shane's foot twitching towards Ilya all the way back in episode 1. Can't stop being intertwined. Can't stop being as intertwined as possible. Why? That's why it looks weird. For even a single second, certainly not when you're proposing that you marry your longtime casual fuck buddy / best friend for citizenship purposes and then confessing that you love each other in a roundabout way. Touch number 27, hand brushes in bed. Throughout the I love you scene, their hands are so close to each other. It looks like they're touching, but they're not. Shane's hand is on Ilya's face and Ilya's hand is on his chest. Their hands just barely maybe touch here when we see Ilya touch his nose, and that's it.
So we start the charity. Yeah, it wouldn't be bullshit either. Like,
after the confession, they are literally laying on top of each other, so like it's more intimate than a handhold in many ways, but still interesting just how close their hands are to each other throughout Shane describing their 10-year plan. The most romantic gesture in the world, a detailed plan that's considered a bunch of factors. I'm also obsessed with the fact that even when Ilya's half asleep, his instinct to take credit for the idea is still very present. Touch number 28, mug off. So in episode 1, Ilya hands Shane his water bottle, and then in episode 6, the morning after they finally admit they love each other, Shane hands Ilya a mug. Cool. I'm definitely going to read into that and fully claim it as a parallel now. Maybe their hands don't touch, but these two take every single opportunity to make contact with each other's fingers, so I'm counting it. Also, IDK, I love that Ilya is smoking, and it's such a well-framed scene, but also like he's smoking outside. He didn't have to change himself in order to be loved. He still gets to be imperfect and worthy, and also like what a cozy shot. Casual coupley intimacy, yay. Touch number 29, give me kiss.
give me a kiss. I'm cold.
Very important to me that Ilya's a guy. I debated cutting the ankle kiss at the beginning just to keep the clips as short as possible, but honestly, it's one of my favorite tiny cute moments, so it's in there, baby. Just so much hand holding and touching and frolicking, and we've been through such an emotional roller coaster with these two. Their hands touching every 5 minutes is the catharsis we needed. Buoyancy, babe. Touch number 30, hand to hug. So look, this isn't technically hands, but because it's directing Shane into a hug, it feels like this is another form of reaching in and being there, so it counts. Plus, I just love the physical direction and reassurance throughout the scene. Ilya stands very still, but also makes a quip to break the tension and then immediately offers Shane sport by sporting to go with him. It's lovely. They're so lovely to each other. Ooh, wait. I thought I'm leaning back far enough to... Huh. I see what you mean. The framing is happening there. Touch number 31, holding hands in Shane's normal car, part 2. We're back in the car. We're seeing how this is affecting Shane via just his eyes in the rearview mirror, which is incredible acting and storytelling because it really feels we're sitting in the car and getting the information the same way we would if we really were. Shane feeling calm and grounded whenever Ilya touches him is so important to me. Of course, they've been yearning for this for years and years. Look how good it is when they finally are together and are able to actually be together. Touch number 32. Wait, here? I love that Shane's not perfect with his reactions to his own anxiety. I love that Ilya is able to check him on it with a good sense of humor and shake him out of it so quickly. It happens the first time with the Raiders t-shirt and the "oh, they don't know I play for Boston."
Maybe you should wait in the car.
Silent communication gets me every time. I love a small comedic beat in the middle of a head of BB moment to remind us just how much these two get each other at this point. And their hands get to touch. Touch number 3, Ilya pasta hands. Shane nudges Ilya's hand down as Ilya is about to take a big bite of pasta.
Something classy.
Now, there's so many possible explanations as to why he does this. Personally, I think he's asking him to wait until everyone has been served / is trying to get Ilya to pay attention to Yuna, but then David passes him the Parmesan and kind of winks, so he goes ahead and takes a big bite of pasta. I crowdsourced the possibilities months ago in a video. It was pre-Clips days. My TV is still in use at this point. My favorite comments on this video are people who claim it's really obvious why this is happening because there are literally hundreds of people who believe different explanations. We're all having a unique experience on this planet. But this is the only time their hands kind of touch in front of Shane's parents. But do you know what they do touch? Bonus touch 30.5. Feet taps under the table. Oh, so they're once again able to take refuge privately, and the other one just being there. They're back in press conference, being asked a bunch of questions mode, and this time Shane is able to lean on Ilya for support. Cool, cool, cool. Love the payoff. Touch number 34, holding hands in Shane's normal car, part 3. We're driving off into the sunset with them, and that includes watching them really hold hands, and Shane even grabs Ilya's jaw at one point, which is not the usual direction that action goes in. And it's so good, and they're able to just be okay for now, and the most important people in Shane's life accepted them so quickly, and now David and Yuna have Ilya's phone number, and I imagine a very lively group chat in which Ilya and Yuna constantly talk shit about hockey players to each other. It's a perfect note to end the show on. They told each other they love each other, they went all in immediately, because the only thing they had doubts about was how the other one felt about them. No doubts about their own emotions or how intently they were feeling them. Love is all around. Lovers of the world unite and hold hands. That's it. That's every time their hands touch on the show. Yay, we're done with the timeline now. So what does it mean? So often our bodies know before our minds can really comprehend. What's so great about Shane and Ilya never communicating about their feelings is that their bodies are constantly communicating all of their feelings without either of them really understanding what's happening. The entire season is building up to them admitting they even want to be in a relationship with each other. So while in episode 6 it takes them 28 minutes to admit out loud that they want to be together, we've known from minute 6 when they finally held hands again. In episode 1, we have a lot of reasonable touches happening. They're shaking hands an awful lot. They're passing things back and forth. They're passing things to each other, water bottles, pressed questions, phones, etc. And even when they hook up, their hand contact is fleeting. There's a lot of touching. There's almost no holding. The close they've come are brief handshakes. There's no intertwined fingers. Most of the contact has been between their hands. Most of the contact between their hands even most of the contact between their hands, even while they're being intimate, is palm to palm, is palm on back of hand contact. Fingers interlacing, never heard of her. Even on the Vegas roof when they're holding hands for the longest period of time, they're still in handshake mode, so it's more of a clasp than a grasp. It's important to note that they absolutely want to be touching each other the entire time, not solely hands, but certainly also their hands. We literally see this. Their hands are often reaching, twitching, and generally aching to connect, but they can't. They're not allowed to hold each other's hands because of hockey, because they're the best at hockey. They understand each other intrinsically because no one else is experiencing hockey quite like they are. They're generational talents expected to build back entire franchises and captain their way to cups multiple times. They yearn. I don't like where this is. Because they're the best at hockey. They understand each other intrinsically because no one else is experiencing hockey quite like they are. They're generational talents expected to build back entire franchises and captain their way to the cup multiple times. The restraint, the self-denial, and the complete and utter inability for either of one of them to acknowledge how much desire they actually have can all be seen in the hands. They're so subdued. They're hooking up in secret, and they can't even hold hands then. They yearn. We literally see them pining for each other. It's the tragedy of the closet and what it means to live a life of self-denial and how those patterns can go so unnoticed by the people around us when we're good at performing. And these two are just constantly having to perform. Even when they're with each other, and then it's really hard to actually stop performing long enough to be honest, which is why it takes them so long because they spend like 2 hours together at a time for the first 4 years. But they're still touching. They're still holding hands a little bit during their first ever hookup. They're still finding every reasonable opportunity to brush up against each other, even if they're terrified that the other one doesn't want what they want in the way that they want it. And admitting to what they want would be so intensely vulnerable, they can't even really consider it as an option. I think this is too long. The reason the miscommunication within this story isn't annoying is because it's so understandable. The conflict is actually comprehensive. The stakes are ever present and increasing year over year. The yearning is earned. Their hands are constantly reaching for each other, and they can't allow themselves to cross that line without knowing that the other person is all in with them. When they get confirmation, they're immediately a team. A good team. Partners, really wonderful and supportive partners who are willing to have the messy conversations and be honest with each other because they both just found out that the person they want to be with also wants to be with them, despite how disastrously inconvenient their feelings are. Let's go tell your parents we're lovers. It'll be great. The physical is the buffer that allows them to develop the emotional connection in the first place. Because while I love the idea that they've been in love since the first or second handshake, they still had to develop those feelings, which never would have happened without the sporadic hookups across many, many seasons of their lives. They can't resist touching each other when they first meet. They crave it. They're bumping, they're stretching, they're lingering near, not even consciously, just magnets to each other. They then go into heavy self-restraint mode because the actual consequences of developing these feelings are far too dire. But then they admit to themselves what they mean to each other, and then they finally let the other one in on those feelings. And by that time, they've been holding hands a bunch, so they're not afraid anymore because they're together. Yeah, I say the same thing 6 times in this closing paragraph, so this is good. Glad. I knew it was way too long, but like, holy shit. And then I'm ending it with a Beatles quote right now, so I'm definitely gonna rewrite that. Other songs besides the Beatles, I Want to Hold Your Hand, that have been in my head the entire time I've been writing this essay, mostly because they have lyrics about hands in them. Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond, Light My Candle by Brent, I'm Not That Girl from Wicked, and You'll Be Back from Hamilton, which doesn't have to do with holding hands, but I've been humming it. Is there more to say about the hands? Perhaps, but I'm personally tapped. But I think if nothing else, I've created a handy guide on every time their hands touch, and if I've missed one, it's okay to tell me, but I beg of you to include a timestamp. This show's got details. I've got so many observations to make, and I think the evolution of their intimacy is fun to track in all the ways that it's demonstrated, including lighting, music, dialogue, and, well, their hands. If you've made it this far, hi, thank you. Please let me know by leaving a like. If you've got thoughts or your own hand theory, tell me all about it in the comments. Claire out. Okay. This is the second to final draft. And it's, okay, that was 7,552 words. I don't know why I'm so into saying the word count, but I think I can get it down to maybe. I just think I'm spending so long and I have so many comments about the scenes, and I don't know that they're necessary, but I don't know what the essay is without them because I still don't feel like my conclusion is like there. And it kind of is, but it's not. It's not in the way I want it to be. Anyway, thanks for listening to me read my essay out loud. It's good to do live edits. And I just gotta hack at that one paragraph, and then I should probably send it because otherwise I'll overthink. Oh, hi, Weem. What are you up to? How are you doing? Uh-huh. I gotta thaw your dinner. Okay. Well, here's the thing. The truth is, I don't like this essay. Which isn't a huge deal. There have been other times in my life that I have not liked things that I have worked for a long time on. Usually because I'm just way too close to the material. And I can't like act rationally about it. I don't think I'm wildly off base in terms of my judgment around what I've done here. I think usually my writing has a little bit more of a point, and I feel like I haven't articulated the point outside of like their hands are saying what their mouths can't, which is fine. That might be it. But at this point, I'm just ranting instead of writing. Okay. Oh my God, I can't believe it's almost 9 o'clock. I'm going to do another 25 minutes of writing on this. I am then going to write the monthly mailer. And if I don't send it out, should I just send out the monthly mailer on Monday? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to do another 25 minutes. And I'm going to try to edit this last bit. I could send this out at 9 p.m. Feels like a good thing to get done in like the last day of April, but we'll have to see. This thing doesn't want to twist, and I'm really annoyed. Okay. Hooray, hooray. Let's go. God, I really it was every week. That's wild. Wow, May 15th is my blog anniversary. That's fun.
บี
All right. We're sending it. I can't look at it anymore. It's done. The hands essay is done. It's out there now. We did it. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you for being with me on this journey. I genuinely can't deal with I don't know. I can't deal with any of this. I am currently trying to export my posts because I am growing increasingly aware that I might get hit with like copyright strikes. And I'm worried about that. Like one time I published a thing that had like pictures of PB Teen in it. And my blog got like nuked. And they said it was like by error, but I'd be really bummed. So hopefully that doesn't happen with this one. Hopefully everyone enjoys the essay. If you didn't hear me read it on this live, you can go read it now. I should probably go make some videos about this in short format. This was a lot of work. I've done most of it on stream, so it's been cool to have done a group project in many ways. I really want to celebrate by buying myself food, I'll be honest, but I'm trying not to use food as like an emotional regulator. But I really want I really want pizza. And I should have gotten a frozen pizza, to be honest. I'm like, I could go walk to get like a bodega treat, and that could be fun. But oh god, okay. I'm really excited that I'm done and that I don't have to think about the hands essay maybe ever again. But also like my Substack, I mean, you can like this will just be fun. I had like 30 subscribers on my Substack for 5 years. Like I was never intentionally trying to get subscribers. Like I didn't play the game. I wasn't putting myself out there in public. It was just like it was very very like friends and friends of friends word of mouth stuff. And then I started making videos, and then I got a huge bump when I announced that I was doing the towel essay, and then I got another big bump when I announced this essay was coming. And that's very cool. Like it's very exciting for me as a writer to have a larger audience for my work, but it's also much more intimidating to send an essay to 500 people than it is to send it to 30. And I think that all of that impacts everything, you know? Like I can like to think that it doesn't. Um, oh, that's so funny. I honestly, I find Substack to be fine. I don't take it super. I used to take it very seriously for myself. Like I published every single Friday for 3 years straight, and that was really good. And I should get back into that habit because it kept me creative and it kept me going. But it was just like a personal essay blog at a certain point. Wasn't really about media or anything concentrated. So it wasn't. I didn't have like a marketing thing. Like I didn't have a hook. And if you if you notice, I still don't really have a like. I'm just kind of making shit that I want to make, and I'm hoping that it finds the people that want to enjoy it. But like now I feel like I have a hook because I'm like I talk about one thing, but I don't want to be penned in by that. So anyway, I'm still bad at kind of developing like this is the brand that you're following. And I think Substack is great when you have that, but if you don't have that, it's also a great place to find that out. Like when I Smoke Show started because I was going to get high and do reviews of shows. That was the whole goal. And that never really happened. And now I've done 2 essays about heated, and like that's some of the most. I've done like documentary roundups and like some analysis about like the Beatles Get Back, but like I haven't been doing whatever this is on purpose. So that's it. Yeah. Anyway, what I'm saying is I think starting one and letting yourself figure out what it is also a cool way to do it. Is this all my shit? Hell yeah. I mean, I did send it out at almost 9 p.m., so I'm not expecting anything right away. But you also like it. Yeah, I won't. I had sent it so little ago. It's so your typical post reaches 36 people, and only 14 of them read it. Anyway, I'm so glad that's done. I feel so relieved. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I feel like I just rambled about my Substack instead of talking, but yeah, I think making a Substack is a really fun way to kind of figure it out. And give yourself that kind of like space. I have a friend who just started her Substack like last year, and she was like, she wanted to write like 18 in a row. And I was like, do it, go for it. Like, I really think with writing, you can never predict when you're going to be in the mood for it. And so when you are, take full advantage of it. Like, it's obviously good to develop strategies and do it when you're not in the mood. But when you are in the mood and you have a million essays that you just want to like get out of your system, like, I can think of nothing better. I hate any time people are like, we need fewer people writing on Substack. Like, babe, most of people don't write for the sake of it being read. Like, that's a wonderful bonus, but I really think writing in and of itself needs to be the reward, because otherwise you'll never do it. And writers toil for years without an audience, and I think that is helpful in terms of developing our voices and stuff. And I think now everything feels like it needs a number attached to it right away. And like, I wrote 237 essays that got sent out to 30 people. And most of those people did not fully read, and that's fine. I did it so many times that I developed my voice, that I got really good at writing a certain style. And like, I think that it's like important to give ourselves those opportunities, because I think when people talk about things like Substack or like doing videos or whatever it is, we focus so much on the numbers because they're there, and the platforms want you to focus on the numbers. Like, it matters that when you open up Substack, the first thing it shows you is how much money you're making and how many subscribers you have. And same thing with YouTube. When I open up the YouTube homepage, it's like, hey, this video is doing really well, or this video is not doing well at all in comparison to your last 10 videos. So it's automatically setting you up to compare yourself to yourself in your head, and that can be a lot. But also just like, when I think like, I don't know, I was really lucky early on to find something that I really enjoyed talking about, because when I started, I didn't have a plan. But I also think that like, not having any expectations is what has allowed me to like let myself go do whatever I'm compelled by. And then other people, it turns out, are usually also compelled by that thing. So I don't know. I think I just went on a rant about myself again, but as I am wont to do. So I would say, if you have any inkling to start a Substack, do it, because it's free. It's free, and it's a great way to get people's emails. Um, yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. And the thing with Substack is like, it's such a passive audience, right? Like, so you get to write every single day. And if and when people discover you along that journey, that's wonderful. But you never have to feel, I don't know, it's very like, emails are so like, you'll get to it when you get to it for me. And so I don't feel a lot of like urgency to make sure that like what I'm sending out is really valuable, or and like, I think that value is an interesting thing to consider around that, because I think a lot of the reasons that we don't often share in public is because we're like, this isn't valuable to anyone else. And it's like, I don't think that's like a metric we need to worry about as much. I think people get value from all different types of things, and like, having art available is valuable. Having your words out there is valuable to you no matter what, but it is also valuable to like the greater ecosystem. And I think what's cool about Substack is like, you can get people to stumble upon your work, and you can build an audience if you want to. And it's not difficult necessarily to like play the Substack game in certain ways. And especially if you're publishing a lot, people love to follow daily, weekly. Like, having a consistency, I think, is really important. Like, when I was writing every single Friday, that's when my views were by far the highest, because people knew to expect an essay from me before 8 a.m. on Friday. And so like I had a lot of my friends tell me like, yeah, I read your essay like first thing on Fridays. So I think developing that kind of like system can be good too. But if you're doing like a creative exercise, like absolutely dude. Like if like and you want to just like put the work out there and that'll it feel like an encouraging thing. So yes, absolutely do it. I used to do these things on here called 7 days of effort where I would write 7 days in a row. Recently I did the 25 days of Smokemas where I wrote 25 essays in a row and that was not good. I mean, it was very impressive, but it was not good for my mental health, I would say. Uh, I know that people received this and that it just isn't showing me yet. Wow. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that it did this. That's fun. You can jump to different parts of the essay. Um, honestly, incredible. So proud of myself. All right. I'm going to go because it's 9 and I have to eat dinner and make some promotional videos about this gigantic essay that I'm giving myself like a 7 out of 10 on, and I'm being real generous with that. But that's okay. That's okay. Half the work on my blog is below average because that's how math works. Um, yeah, and having a log, I think, is just it's like a nice thing. Like I just downloaded all of my work off of here because again, I got worried that this is gonna like somehow copyright strike me into oblivion. And it's really nice to be able to just like have your stuff and like get it in one kind of tidy folder. Um, and also like I really email lists are the most important thing in the world. Like if tomorrow I lost my YouTube and my TikTok. I almost want to say God forbid, which is how you know I grew up in Ireland. Um, I would still have the email list, and that only has like a tenth of the people that are actually subscribed to me. But it would be 500 people that are really interested. You know what I mean? So I think email it all in terms of marketing, it always comes back to the email list. So okay, that's it. Ta for now. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for letting me chat for a lot more than I usually do. I hope everyone was able to get work done if they wanted to. And yeah, having a portfolio, it's also like that thing of I used to watch a lot of Rachel Bloom and Aline Broche McKenna do conversations at like the Writers Guild West place when they were working on Crazy Rich Girlfriend and or Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and they would talk a lot about how Aileen just found Rachel because she had been putting out those YouTube shorts, like the "Fuck Me Ray Bradbury" song and stuff. And so I think just having your stuff out there in a findable way is really important, even if it never hits it big. You know what I mean? Like I've had things hit it big, and I've had things not hit, and the sometimes the stuff that doesn't hit that has a really specific audience, and you never know who's you literally never know who's watching. Like in my first like month on YouTube or my first like month on TikTok, Tell the Bees made like a video about me, and so I had a bunch of friends who did not know I was doing TikTok find out from that. And they were like, how is this guy making a video about one of your videos? He's like really big. And I was like, he never contacted me. Doesn't even follow me. So it was you never know who's seeing your shit. So, good luck, best of luck. And yeah, I'm glad you're getting things done. I get things done on these too. So I'll keep doing them and hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your night. Talk to you.